My name is Claire Donovan, and if you'd asked me 2 years ago, I would have told you my life was finally stable. After 10 years in corporate finance, I had carved out my place at Northbridge Technologies, a mid-sized firm that grew fast after landing 2 government contracts. I wasn't flashy, but I was reliable, the one who made sure things balanced when executives chased dreams they couldn't explain. My reputation was built on one thing: I delivered results quietly. Numbers matched, reports stood unchallenged, and auditors had nothing to fight me on. I was the boring backbone nobody noticed, until someone new arrived and decided my silence made me an easy target. Her name was Ivy Worthington, the freshly promoted CTO who had less experience than half the interns but held a last name that mattered. She had married into the founding family, and overnight she had power. Everyone whispered, but no one dared say it out loud. Ivy was ambitious, loud, and painfully insecure. She couldn't open an Excel sheet without freezing, yet she walked into meetings speaking like she was the smartest person in the room. Her first week, she decided she wanted to streamline the systems team and demanded a budget shift. That budget? My responsibility. The first confrontation came in a Thursday meeting. Ivy slapped a file on the table, numbers highlighted in red. "These expenses don't align with projections," she said loudly, glancing around to make sure others were watching. "Who approved this?" My name was on every approval line. I knew exactly what she was doing, making me the example so she could look powerful. I stayed calm. "Those expenses came directly from your department's software overhaul. You signed off yourself, 3 weeks ago." Her face tightened, but she forced a smile. "Then maybe finance needs to be more proactive in guiding us, rather than letting mistakes slide." That was her strategy: never admit error, always redirect blame. And slowly, she started circling closer to me. Within 2 months, every minor problem in her department became a finance oversight. I corrected her gently at first, pulling email receipts and approvals. But it didn't matter. She had something I didn't: the founder's ear. The real blow came in a board presentation. Ivy unveiled a new infrastructure project, throwing around buzzwords like AI scalability and predictive automation. It sounded impressive, but I knew the numbers didn't support her claims. She was promising a $5 million savings that didn't exist. I had sent her 3 warnings in writing. She ignored them. During the meeting, she clicked to a slide with my department's logo at the bottom. "These projections were verified by finance," she announced confidently. Every eye turned to me. My stomach dropped. She had twisted the numbers, repackaged my reports, and now attached my name to a lie. When the CFO asked for clarification, Ivy leaned forward. "Claire's team confirmed everything. She can walk you through the details." I had 2 choices: stay quiet and become the scapegoat when the scheme collapsed, or speak up in front of the board. I chose survival. "With respect," I said carefully, "those projections don't reflect finance's analysis. Our reports actually flagged risks in these models, and I have documentation to show we advised adjustments." A silence spread across the room. Ivy's smile cracked. "That's not what you told me," she snapped. I didn't flinch. "I can share the emails this afternoon. They're time-stamped." That was the first time she realized I wasn't going to roll over. And from that moment, she made it her mission to destroy me. The retaliation started small. Budget requests I submitted sat mysteriously delayed. Meetings where I was supposed to present were rescheduled without notice. My team's reports got lost before reaching executives. Each time, Ivy acted innocent, tilting her head and saying things like, "Strange, must have been an oversight." Then it escalated. A compliance review came back with missing documentation, files my team had uploaded and confirmed. After digging, I discovered they had been deleted from the shared drive. Access logs pointed to Ivy's assistant. When I brought it up to HR, they brushed me off. Ivy's under pressure to deliver big changes, they said. We all need to be flexible during this transition. Translation, don't challenge her. But I wasn't blind. I'd seen people like her before, loud, entitled, reckless. They rise fast because nobody dares stop them. And when the fallout comes, they look for someone else to take the hit. I knew then that she was building a trap, one where I'd be the final scapegoat. And if I didn't prepare, I'd end up unemployed, my reputation destroyed, my decade of work erased. So, I started my own quiet project. Every email I sent her, I blind copied to a private account. Every report altered under her name, I saved both versions with metadata. Every file deleted, I logged with access history. I didn't know exactly when she'd make her move, but I knew it was coming. The breaking point came 6 months later. Ivy announced to the board that the new infrastructure rollout was a success, claiming savings of $5 million. Applause followed, and she basked in it. But I knew the truth, the rollout had cost nearly double projections, and several critical licenses were unpaid. Vendors had begun sending warnings directly to finance. Ivy didn't care. She needed her win, and she would sacrifice anyone to get it. That afternoon, I received an email from legal, copying the CEO. The message was blunt: finance had approved fraudulent expense classifications, and an internal review would begin immediately. I stared at the screen. She had done it, framed me directly. The fraudulent expenses were hers, reclassified under projects I had flagged months earlier. She had rewritten the trail, placing my name as final approval. On paper, it looked airtight. Most people would have panicked. But I felt strangely calm. Because while Ivy thought she had erased the trail, she didn't know I had everything. I opened my archive. Every version, every timestamp, every warning. I had her signature, her approvals, her instructions to just make it work when I flagged compliance issues. I had recordings of 2 calls where she brushed off my objections, saying, "Don't worry, Claire, nobody checks the fine print." She thought I was invisible. She thought I was powerless. She was wrong. The internal review was scheduled for Monday. That gave me the weekend to prepare. I compiled a clean, chronological file, emails, approvals, audit logs, even screenshots of deleted documents. I didn't send it to the review team. I sent it to the board directly, along with a cover note. These records show the true sequence of approvals and demonstrate that finance flagged every irregularity. Please review carefully before Monday's meeting. By Sunday night, my inbox was exploding. Half the board members had replied, thanking me for transparency. One even called me directly, saying, "Claire, if what you've sent checks out, this changes everything." Monday morning came. Ivy strutted into the review with her usual confidence, ready to perform. She launched into accusations, painting me as negligent, reckless, possibly corrupt. Then the CFO slid a printed packet across the table. "My packet. Claire already provided us with full documentation," he said coolly. "And it tells a very different story." Ivy's face drained of color. She shuffled through the pages, her own emails staring back at her in black and white. Her own approvals, her own dismissals. The room turned against her instantly. The CEO demanded an explanation. She stammered, denying, backtracking, trying to blame her assistant. But the evidence was undeniable. That day, the review ended not with my termination, but with hers. She was escorted out of the building by security, still protesting. But for me, it wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Because exposing her had done more than save me, it revealed a $5 million scam tied directly to her projects. And I wasn't about to let the company quietly bury it. I had the truth. And I was ready to use it. My sister snatched the document. This is fake. Grandpa never trusted her. He promised everything to me. The lawyer stayed firm. The trust was sealed 3 years ago. Every asset transferred into her name. Nothing belongs to you. She shouted. Show the codicil. Show the amendment he signed before death. The lawyer replied. There is no valid codicil. The draft you bragged about was never executed. It was hidden after your lawyer accepted money. We have sworn testimony confirming it. The room froze. Relatives whispered. My sister's confidence cracked. You planned this, she accused me. I answered clearly. No. Grandpa planned this because he saw your greed. The lawyer placed another envelope on the table. Here are certified copies of property deeds, share certificates, vehicle titles, and accounts. Every one lists her name as the legal owner. I opened the envelope. Every paper bore my name. My sister's voice shook. She manipulated him. She poisoned him against me. I looked at her. He wasn't poisoned. He was prepared. He knew what you were after. She lunged forward, trying to rip the pages. The lawyer pulled them back. These are certified. Originals are under federal seal. Destruction changes nothing. Gasps spread around the room. Her support dissolved. I watched her pride collapse. But the lawyer continued. One more matter. The trust carries a protection clause. If any heir attempts fraud, bribery, or intimidation, they forfeit all inheritance rights. Your actions with your attorney triggered this clause. Her eyes widened. You can't prove that. He placed another affidavit on the table. Your attorney confessed. Payment was traced. This clause is binding. You are legally disqualified from any claim. The whispers turned into judgment. My sister shook her head violently. No. This isn't over. I'll sue her. I'll drag her to court. The lawyer cut her off. Pursue it, and you face fraud charges. The penalty includes prison. Your position is destroyed. Her voice cracked. He loved me more. He promised me everything. I answered calmly. If he loved you, why did he trust me with all of it? She had no answer. She looked around, searching for support. None came. The lawyer handed me the final document. Your grandfather left a note with the trust. It states, legacy belongs to the one who protects it, not the one who demands it. That decision is final. My sister's face turned pale. Her empire of arrogance collapsed in seconds. I rose from the chair, folder in hand. You mocked me for having nothing. But today, I walk out with everything. The company, the house, the shares, the cars, all mine. You walk away with disgrace. The lawyer nodded. Meeting adjourned. Records will be filed immediately. No contest will stand. The relatives avoided her eyes. She sat frozen, unable to move, unable to argue. For years she mocked me. Today silence shut her mouth forever. Days after the will reading, my sister sent me a message. You think it's over? I'll sue. You'll lose everything in court. I replied once. Try. The next week, I received a notice. She had filed a petition challenging the trust. She accused me of manipulating our grandfather and falsifying documents. The lawyer met me immediately. She has no case. Every record is authenticated. But she will drag this out for attention. Are you ready? I said yes. In court, she stood tall again. My grandfather was pressured. These documents are fake. She never deserved anything. The judge asked for evidence. She handed over altered papers, unsigned drafts, and handwritten notes. The lawyer rose calmly. Those papers are irrelevant. Here are the notarized originals, sealed under federal registry. Here is the affidavit of her own attorney admitting to bribery. Here are banking records of her payment. Here is the penalty clause triggered by her actions. The judge reviewed everything. He looked directly at my sister. You not only attempted fraud, you knowingly bribed legal counsel. Do you deny this? She stuttered. My lawyer lied. He betrayed me. The lawyer stepped forward. Your lawyer is present under oath. Would you like the court to hear his testimony? Her face collapsed. She whispered, No. The judge declared. The petition is dismissed. Costs will be borne by the petitioner. Further investigation will be conducted for potential criminal charges. My sister's mouth fell open. You can't do this to me. I answered in court. You did this to yourself. The gavel struck. Case closed. Outside the courtroom, she cornered me. You ruined me. But I'll destroy the company. If I can't have it, you won't either. I looked at her. Do whatever you want. Every share is mine. Every decision is mine. You have no access. She screamed. People in this family will never respect you. They'll follow me. The lawyer interrupted. Family opinion has no legal weight. She holds ownership. You hold nothing. My sister's threats grew louder. I'll leak false stories. I'll drag her name through the mud. I responded coldly. Then I'll release the records of your fraud. Every bribe, every false claim, every note you forged. Which story do you think people will believe? She froze. The lawyer handed me a new folder. This contains a restraining order. If she continues harassment, we'll activate it immediately. I signed without hesitation. The next morning, she called crying. You can't cut me off. I have nothing. Help me. I said one sentence. You laughed when you thought I had nothing. Now live the life you wished on me. I ended the call. She tried one last move, selling fake shares to outsiders, claiming she still had a stake. Within 24 hours, the documents were exposed as fraud. Her buyers sued her for damages. The lawyer called me again. She has destroyed herself. Civil suits, criminal investigation, zero inheritance. Her arrogance wrote her downfall. I replied. She mocked me for being empty-handed. But in the end, her hands are the only ones truly empty. Weeks later, the lawyer called me. The investigations are complete. Your sister's fraud case has advanced. She faces charges for bribery, forgery, and attempted misrepresentation. I asked one question. Maximum penalty? He answered firmly. 15 years. Likely reduced, but prison is certain. That evening, my sister called again. You can't let this happen. You're my blood. Withdraw the complaint. I answered coldly. I didn't press charges. The state did. I can't stop what you started. She begged. I'll lose everything. I reminded her. You laughed when you thought I had nothing. Now you know what nothing feels like. Court records confirmed her conviction. Fines, restitution, and jail time. Her reputation was gone. Meanwhile, I stepped into the company headquarters. The board welcomed me. Your grandfather's trust left you majority shares. You are the sole decision maker now. I signed the documents. Effective immediately, I take control. The company follows the legacy he wanted, not the greed she carried. The lawyer presented one final envelope. Your grandfather left this note for you. I opened it. The words were simple. Strength is proven when silence wins over noise. You stayed silent while mocked. Today, silence became your victory. I folded the note. He was right. Relatives who once sided with my sister now approached me cautiously. We misjudged. We thought she was the heir. I replied without hesitation. You believed her arrogance over his documents. That choice is yours to live with. I don't need your approval. I have his trust. My sister's downfall spread quickly. News outlets reported her fraud. Former friends distanced themselves. Lawsuits buried her in debt. One last letter arrived from her in prison. You stole my life. I will never forgive you. I wrote back only once. You lost your life the day you tried to steal mine. From that moment, she was silent. I secured the company, restored the properties, and held the cars, shares, and accounts exactly as written. Every asset became proof that arrogance fails, and truth prevails. Her mocking words once echoed through the family. Now, they served as a memory of her downfall. She mocked my inheritance. In the end, inheritance destroyed her pride and gave me everything. The sentencing came quickly. The judge's words cut through the courtroom. Forgery, bribery, fraudulent claims. Guilty on all counts. Sentenced to 10 years. My sister screamed. You can't do this to me. This was supposed to be mine. The judge responded. You did this to yourself. She was taken away in handcuffs. The same hands that once pointed at me with arrogance now bound in chains. Afterward, the lawyer handed me the final clearance papers. All properties transferred. All shares secured. All vehicles titled under your name. No further contest possible. I signed every page. My name was stamped across assets she had once mocked me for never touching. I remembered her words at the will reading. She gets nothing. Now the reality was written in black ink. She has nothing. The board of directors stood before me. You hold full control. What are your first orders? I answered clearly. Continue my grandfather's policies. No shortcuts. No corruption. No place for arrogance. They nodded. For the first time, the company wasn't under a shadow of entitlement. It was under leadership rooted in legacy. Relatives who once supported her tried to reconnect. We misunderstood. We believed her confidence. I replied without hesitation. You believed her lies. Legacy isn't given to the loudest voice. It's given to the one who earns it. The lawyer smiled. Your grandfather would be proud. He wrote in his notes that you were the one who understood responsibility. I kept that note close. It read, silence is not weakness. Silence is strength waiting for its moment. My sister's moment of arrogance became her downfall. My silence became my weapon. Months later, she wrote to me from prison. You took everything. You left me with nothing. I hate you. I wrote one final reply. I took nothing. Grandpa gave it all to me because you tried to take everything. Hate me if you want, but your hate changes nothing. I never heard from her again. The legacy was secured. The company thrived. The houses, the shares, the cars, all remained as symbols not of wealth, but of justice. She mocked my inheritance, thinking it was a joke. But the joke was on her. The lawyer's final words echoed as truth. She disqualified herself. You didn't have to fight her. Her greed fought her for you. That was the end. My silence won. Her arrogance lost. The legacy was mine. And that will never change.